You guys are going to love this. So, you see right here, this box was still sealed from Rough Country. I ordered this from Amazon, but it came from Rough Country, even says right on it. And it is a set of ball joints for the XJ. And the whole reason I ordered this is it comes with ball joints for the bottom that have grease fitting in them. Because I like to be able to grease my ball joints. So I get the box here open and get the instructions out, and I'm looking at them, and what do we got in here? We got a lower ball joint, a lower ball joint, a lower ball joint, and a lower ball joint. 4 lower ball joints. And the funny thing is, if you look in here for the hardware kits, you got 2 lower ball joint hardware kits and 2 upper ball joint hardware kits, but no upper ball joints. Isn't that lovely? Off to the parts store to pay twice as much again. One of these days I'm gonna quit buying crap from Amazon. Although I think this is more Rough Country's fault than Amazon, since the package was sealed. So there you have it. I guess I've got 2 lower ball joints and 2 spares, and I'll have to go pick up 2 upper ball joints. We'll be back again. Morning, y'all. I think this is part 4 of improving the Dana 30. Today we're going to take the old ball joints out, press some new ones in, put the new steering knuckles on. The steering knuckles they're factory ones. I had to get new ones because all of my brake caliper holes had the threads were gone in them, so had to get new ones. You'll see this is not an easy job, and well, you'll see. They're pressed in. The top one is pressed in from the top, and the bottom one is pressed in from the bottom. And you'll have to use one of these tools. I got this one years ago from Harbor Freight, and I've got a set of these adapters that are made for doing the Jeep and Dodge ball joints. If you don't have those, then you'll have to come up with your own way of getting your C-clamp press to work. It's not easy even with the adapters, so I would highly suggest you can get those adapters on Amazon for like $35. So let's get started. Get this where y'all can see what I'm doing here. So I already did the other side this morning because I wanted to make sure this was going to work before I tried to film it for y'all. First thing you want to do is take you a screwdriver and clean all this crud around this ball joint off. It's just going to make it easier for you in the long run if you do that. And if yours are like mine, there's quite a bit of crud packed around there. Clean all that off. The reason you want to do that is because the adapter that fits over the top of this is pretty tight, Alright, so you got your adapter. It fits over the top like that. And then you got this other piece that fits into the bottom of your clamp, and it'll go up through that, and you can just barely get all of this stuff on to start with. There we go. So you stack that up like that. Oh, I forgot one thing. So one thing I learned on the other side you want to do is, before you go to pull this, go ahead and pull this old boot off of your ball joint and get it out of the way. Otherwise it gets all jammed up inside of the press. And wipe all this old grease away. There we go. All right. So get everything kind of lined up on there and run this down. There's a little detent for it in the top of this, and it'll look like that. You'll see I've got some never sees on there to save my threads. Now if you're lucky, you might have enough room to get an impact in here. I did not, but lucky for me, I've got a long ratchet. If you don't have a long ratchet, you might have to get yourself a pipe to put on your ratchet. So you start tightening this down, and if this starts to move on you, you can take a pry bar and put in here like that to kind of hold it. Anyways, what you do is go ahead and tighten this down just about as tight as you can get it. And once you're as tight as you can get it, then take your hammer and just give it a few taps, and you see that popped right up in there. So now we can tighten down some more, and she should come on up out of there. And there we go. Pull your clamp back off and your adapters. And the top one's out. Now the bottom one, wipe all this down. Now this bottom one, on the instructions for this, it tells you to put this like this, and put this cup on the bottom, and then this will push it down through there. But if I do that, I don't have enough room between my floor and the tool to get my ratchet in there. So what I did on the other side is I flipped this the other way, and I just kind of held this up in here. Oh, I gotta get my little plate. 1 second. So this is how I did it on the other side. I stuck this up through here and then stuck this on here like that, and then and it's kind of a pain to get all this lined up just right. Then I took this piece of flat bar and laid on top of that piece, so it looks kind of like that. Get everything centered up, run the thing down till it's almost tight, and then you can kind of get everything centered up on there. Make sure your adapters are all in the right place. Grab the light. Yep, we're all centered up. And then, same as we did for the other side, we'll take our ratchet and tighten that down. Till we get shit tons, pounds of force on there, and then give her the old tappy tap. And you might have to do it a couple of times before it finally breaks loose, but it will eventually come loose for you. Oh yeah, she's moving now. There we go. And there's our bottom. All right. So once you got them out, take our little flapper. Now, when I'm doing this with this flapper wheel, I'm not taking material away. All I'm doing is just cleaning up the rust out of these boards. doing is cleaning up any burrs and getting the rust out of those. You don't want to take material away because you want a good press fit. All right. Let me get another tool. I'll be right back. Okay, so the kit for the Dodge and Jeep axles comes with another, a different set of tools for going back in. And when you install it, I had to put the long piece, the threaded part, to the floor. There was no way to do it without that. So what you do, you got this cup that if you take your ball joint, you'll see it fits right in there like that. And you stick it up in the hole, get it started in the hole. And what I did is I just give it a little tap. So it'll sit there while I'm getting everything else set up. Otherwise you got to fight it while you're trying to set everything else up. And you'll notice that this piece has a slant to it. So you got to get the slanted part kind of out to the front, I think, and then kind of line everything up like that. So what I had to do was use a cheater wrench on here to tighten this down and pull that up in there. You won't be able to do it with just a 7/8 wrench. Now this should eventually stop turning once you get enough pressure on it. And then it's just a matter of pulling on wrenches until it gets your ball joint on up in there and seated. I wouldn't want to take it off with 2 wrenches put together like this, but it's not that bad going back on. It's not that great either, but and you can give it a little tap every once in a while. It'll kind of help you. Alright. Oh, I gotta get my pad, hold on. I'm going to give a word of advice to all you young guys. You better start using a knee pad now. I wish I had started 30 years ago. So once it's all the way up, you'll see there won't be any more gap here. It'll be pulled all the way up against there. So then what I do is go ahead and give it a couple more taps with the hammer. That makes sure everything's seated. See if you can turn it anymore. No, it's up in there. So now, pull this back off. So there's our bottom joint installed. Let me go get the top joint and I'll be right back. Okay, on the top ball joint, you're going to have the adapter on the bottom, and this cup will sit right on the top like that. So you've got to go up, and the end of the ball joint will stick out of the bottom there once you get everything on here. So get that up there, and you've got a high part and a low side of that adapter. It's cut so that it fits the slant of this arm here. So you want to get that centered up there, just like that. We can use our ratchet to tighten it on down. And again, once you've bottomed, just take your hammer and give her a few taps. Make sure you're actually bottomed. We are. And then you can remove your clamp. And there we go. So that one's installed. Now we'll put the grease fittings in them and then get the steering knuckle over here and get it installed. So let me go get those parts. Alright, so we got our steering knuckle, and we've got our nuts for the ball joints. So you want to slip the steering knuckle on both ends, and then get your nuts started on there. So the bottom one is 1 1/16, and you just want to run them up kind of hand tight. For now, top one is 7/8, I believe. Yep. All right, then get your torque wrench, and we're going to do the bottom one first. Got the torque wrench set for 75 foot-pounds. once you hit your torque, then we'll get down here and see where our hole is at. You need to line up the hole for the cotter pin, and it's got to be there it is. All right, so if you gotta tighten it to line up your cotter pin hole. You don't want to loosen. Almost there. Cotter pin. Alright, there we go. Put your cotter pin in, bend it over. There's the bottom one, then we got to torque the top. It's also going to get 75 foot-pounds. Gotta move y'all back a little bit. And same thing. Find your hole there, which that one is right there. Bend your cotter pin over and you're done. Now all we got to do is grease these grease fittings, and we'll be ready for the next step, which will finally be putting these axles in and putting our new manual locking hub set up on. So let me get these greased up. Y'all don't need to see that, just greasing. And I'll get everything set up and we'll start the next step.